Today's episode is sponsored by Dancesoft Gamers. Dancesoft Gamers is the leading distributor of video games and other consumer gadgets like the podcast microphone sets, ring lights, headphones, and affordable smartwatches, and many other cool gadgets. For these and more, visit their website at www.dancesoftgamers.co. That is www.dancesoftgamers.co. Mujevale, Mujevale, Mujevale. My name is Bani Kibuka, and welcome to another episode of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. So, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
You're looking well as always.
I appreciate that. You're looking good too.
I'm trying.
Yeah, first and foremost, actually, welcome to my podcast. I'm glad I'm able to get you on here.
And thank you for having me.
And also I want to thank you for supporting because I know every time I post something on Instagram, you're there to like it and support. So I see that and I appreciate that.
And we have to do that. It's all about support. We have to support each other and lift each other one and up.
That is true. That is true. And that's one thing I advocate for, like supporting each other, no matter what somebody does. It really helps a lot. So I'm thankful for that.
Exactly.
I get you in the podcast. First of all, I know you by the names of Brenjeezy, Uganda, and I know that's your stage name. But what's your name? What's your real name or your original name for the
My
listeners?
name is Brenda Walagembe.
Brenda Walugembe. What did I?
Walagembe. I
Did
say
it?
it in English way, but it's Walagembe.
Walugembe.
Walagembe. Say
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Walugembe. So you know what's funny? When I came to the United States, obviously you get drawn into the accent and how people speak where you live. So it changes. Some people back in Uganda, they think we make ourselves change the accent, but it's not that. It's like where you live, it just changes naturally. So
Exactly.
when I say my name, Bonnie Kibuka, so I say like Kibuka, but like back home they say Chibuka. So like that.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
So do you speak any
Mm.
Luganda?
Do you know what? The funny thing is, I understand Uganda. So when you speak to me, I
Mhm.
can understand it. But when I respond back in English.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
That's
Yeah.
how I am in Swahili. My mom is Kenyan, so like Swahili. I mean, if I had to, like, I would speak it. But if I don't have to, like, if you speak to me, I'll speak back to you in English because I understand everything. Do you know is it called a totem? Wedila, like if somebody say Wedila, because you say
Okay,
Walugembe. Yeah.
where did I say Walegembe? I'm polygama. You ain't polygama. I'm a
Yeah.
lion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I try as much as I can to like keep my Ugandan like the culture and the heritage.
Mhm,
And even though I don't speak it as well,
mhm.
but I try to embrace
Yeah.
it.
I like that too because, and I said that last week when I was recording a podcast with somebody that that's the whole reason too. Like even though I'm now living in Uganda, I try to embrace it too. That's why my podcast I named it the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. I could have named it something else
Yeah.
different, but I try to at least embrace the Ugandan in me and to keep it alive. So I see you also at the UG there with the flag and all the work you do. So
And you're doing well. Keep it up. Keep it up.
thank you,
You're
thank
doing
you.
very well.
So Walugembe, I think I'm gonna start addressing my
Walogembe.
well, the
I
whole podcast I'm gonna say. But anyway, where in Uganda were you born in Uganda or were you born in the UK?
was actually born in Uganda, but I came to the UK when I was a baby.
Okay. Where in Uganda were you
Yeah.
born?
Mango.
Mango. Is that where your family
Mango
lives or it was
Hospital.
just a hospital?
I was born in Mango Hospital, and like my parents are from Masaka.
Hmm. Oh
You know
wow.
Masaka. I'm probably saying it wrong in the
Yeah,
English
no.
way.
You said it right. You said
I'm
it
saying
right.
Masaka.
Yeah.
Masaka, like that's where my
Masaka.
parents are
Yeah.
born. Yeah, that's where my parents are born, and I've been there a few times, and yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just here now.
At what age did you leave Uganda?
I left Uganda when I was one, but even though I left from an early age, I still travel back a lot as if I haven't like I've
Right.
left. I've always tried to go back, remember
Mhm.
who I am, my culture, and everything.
So on the podcast, I usually ask people about their background, but most people, especially the ones who grew up in Uganda, but for yours, yes, you were born in Uganda, but then you moved to the UK at an early age. How was your childhood growing up in the UK and no, you're Ugandan? Like when you're growing up, how was that like?
My childhood, I think when I grew up, like I never embraced my culture the way that I should have. Like I think back in the days when I grew up, it almost wasn't cool to be African.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to try and be like, westernized basically. But as I've got older, I'm embracing my culture, my Ugandanness, and I say I'm this. I represent my country as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just say, growing up, like I feel like I never embraced my culture as much as I do now.
That's good. And it's hard definitely like when you grow up in another country, like trying to keep up with that because you're in that situation where you're born in a different country where yeah, that's where you live and where you're born, but you're also tied to another country. So like trying to keep up with both of them, it could be hard. Some
Yeah,
people don't know that, and but in some sense, it's hard like to just keep up with your culture, but also grow up in another country. It could be tough.
definitely.
Did you went to schools then in the UK, like your
Yeah,
elementary?
I did.
What
Yeah.
schools did you go to?
I went to schools in the UK. Like even though I was born in Uganda, I came to the UK when I was young. But I went to schools in the UK. I learned the whole UK curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
I did I did everything that a child would do growing up in the UK. I feel like as I've got older, the whole Africanness is
Mm-hmm.
coming inside me.
Yeah. So do you have any siblings in your family background? Like how many siblings you
I
got?
have many. Yeah, I have many. I have sisters in the UK. Sorry, I have brothers in the UK, and I have sisters and brothers in Uganda. Too many of them.
You,
Ugandans. Too
you can
many of
keep
them.
going.
Yeah.
Actually, I meant to say you were the third person I'm interviewing on the podcast from the UK and UK Ugandan. So like I hosted two guys, no, one guy and Linda. Both were from the 256 podcast. I had them here individual, and you're
Okay.
the third person on the podcast. So I like to talk to you guys to just see how your life is there. I mean, I live in the United States and I want to hear how other people's lives in other countries are, and it's been really exciting to share my podcast with you guys from the UK, and I really
And thank
appreciate
you.
I appreciate the love. So I know you through your music, and probably most of the people listening to podcasts, and today. For the most part, we're going to be talking about music. For the most part, that's what we're going to be discussing about, talking about, chatting about. I usually don't like to call it an interview because I just want to have a conversation. I just don't want to throw questions at you. I just want to like walk through and just have a conversation. That's why I don't tell people what like, oh, we're gonna be talking. Oh, like these are the questions I'm gonna ask you. I build my
Yeah.
conversation while we talk because I feel like it flows better. When was the first time you realized you're gonna be doing music, or when was the first time you hold a mic, or even before holding a mic, when was the first time you sang, or like, and then you know you're gonna be a musician?
I always tell everybody this story. So I went to Los Angeles in 2018 and I had no interest in music. I was always a musical person, but I had no interest in taking it seriously. And I went to go and visit my cousin in America in LA. Which part are you? Where are you from?
I'm in Michigan. It's like LA's
Yeah.
far away from us.
Yeah. So I went to LA. I saw my cousin and she played Ugandan music to me. And before that, I never knew Ugandan music. I was just like in the whole like, the Beyonce's and the
Mm-hmm.
Rihanna's and all of
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. And she played me a song by Sheba. And I was like, wow, this song is actually really good. And then I started to listen to Ugandan music more. And I thought to myself, you know, you could actually do it if you actually try.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally wanted to become a manager first. I wasn't interested in doing music. I wasn't interested in being the artist. I wanted to be the manager
Hmm.
first. I wanted to find an artist who I can manage, but you know what it's like. You get your troubles and whatever, and then when you find people they're not serious, and then I decided to take on myself, knowing that I knew I had the talent,
Yeah.
and I was just put in contact with the right people, and then I started doing music. And at first, I was just like, yeah, just one song,
Hmm.
and then you get hit by the bug, and then it's like one after another after another. Yeah, so
Right.
that's how it started.
Do you remember the year, what year it was? Or
It was 2018.
okay, 2018. And actually, that was back of my head. I'm glad you mentioned about the Ugandan music because some people, like when they live outside Uganda, they don't listen to Ugandan music. Like you said, they were listening like to Beyonce. You get caught up in this Western music. But
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned like you actually picked it up from listening to Ugandan music. Do you have? I know you talked about Shiba, but do you have a favorite Ugandan artist that you really like?
Let me tell you something. I think with Ugandan music, the underground artists are not given enough attention.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's
So
true.
right now, all we know are the Shebas and the Spice Diners and the
Hmm.
Thinkers, whatever. But the artists who I like, right, are the ones that you don't even know,
Hmm.
right? And they're the ones who I can say to you, they're the ones who are going to lift up the generation or the next Ugandan music. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the ones who are up right now, but I'm just saying there's a lot of undercover artists like Kavan, the girl that I did a song with, Make Me Wanna,
Hmm.
people like that. I appreciate the ones who are coming up because they're the ones who are going to change the the
The music
generation.
industry. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Actually, yeah, you make a really good point, actually. That's true. Because on my podcast too, I've had to I wouldn't call them upcoming artists because they've been doing music for a long time. I usually don't like the word upcoming artists because these artists
Yeah,
it's just like the world didn't know them, but they've been doing music, like you call them underground.
yeah,
Like they've been doing music for a long time. And I usually try not to use the word upcoming artists because these guys have been like hustling because the world
yeah,
just didn't know about them. But I've had two guys on here, Booker Chimmy and Quakes, the guy who sang Kachumba, which is a song that's played around, and then Booker Chimmy, and these guys have been doing like a really good music. And like, yeah, that's a good point. The world just focuses on people who have already made it, which it's good. I mean, they've made it, but there's a lot of good music underground. And like for me personally, I love music. I can't sing to save my life. I would like I
Mhm.
would. No,
You can try.
I always tell people that when I was younger, my dad forced me to sing in church. That it made me hate music, but I really love
Yeah,
people who sing. I love listening to music. Like this morning, before I had got you on the Zoom, I was listening to Moses Radio. I grew up listening to him. I love radio, and for me, radio is my favorite Ugandan artist. I know he's dead, but
yeah.
no offense to the people who are still doing music, but radio was up there for me, and he
He was.
still is.
Yeah, he was fantastic, an amazing songwriter, an amazing
Mhm.
singer. Like he was the one that was going to lift it up, but
Yeah, and he really
whatever
made
happened.
good music, and may he so rest in peace. When you were talking, you mentioned somebody I was going to ask you about, and the song we are going to talk about first. Make me wanna that song. Uh,
Make me wanna. Yeah.
yeah, I
Do you
think it's
like the song?
yeah. I'm gonna ask you, but first, before I ask you about it, I'm gonna tell you to give us a cappella, just like a few lines of that.
Sorry.
So I say, just give us a cappella of "Make Me Wanna" before even I ask you about
Make me wanna. Make me wanna. Call on
it.
me whenever you wanna. Make me wanna. Make me
Yeah,
wanna. Stop on the replay like me wanna. Go.
that song, yeah, I like it. I like the beat. I like how you guys did it with Kevon, and that's how they pronounce it, Kevon, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Kevon. How did you meet Kevon, and how do you know her before even we go into the song?
This song was done by complete accident, which nobody realizes. So I remember one time I was at home and I had an idea of a song. And with me, I don't really write my music, as everybody knows. So I had an idea. I sent it to a songwriter, and he wrote the song. And then when he did the song, I recorded it. And after I recorded it, I said, the song is missing something. It needs somebody else on the track, right? So I remembered Kavan from a previous song of hers. And I thought to myself, Kavan is going to be the perfect person
Mm-hmm.
to go onto the song. And she was. And, and she came and she killed it. And then
Mm-hmm.
that's how the song was born.
That's cool. And the storyline of the song, I really love it. The first clip, especially, I'm gonna study from the beginning to the end. The first clip, you guys are sitting in a restaurant with your parents, and they're talking about. First of all, did you record this song in COVID? Was it?
Yeah, recorded it in COVID. Recorded it in COVID, and it was the time I went to Uganda. Everything was so disorganized,
Mhm.
and I was like, yeah, wala wasi samusola. Like,
So
it's
the
funny.
the parent says, "Oh, this daughter of yours, she just keeps leaving, and she's in COVID. She's gonna get caught by the curfew." And-
Yeah, basically, it was. We tried to make it into a story. We tried to make it into a movie. If you realize the whole project is about six
Mhm,
minutes long,
mhm. Yeah.
like, because I spent 2 years about doing music. So I thought to myself, friend, if you're gonna come back with something that can make people remember it. Don't just
Mhm.
come back and do like a song and be like, and that's it. I
Yeah.
tried to I tried to make people remember that I'm back.
Mhm. So so then the song starts. So you leave your actually you walk out, you stand up from the table, and you leave your parents there. So you go, and then the song starts. And before the song starts, it says somewhere in Boston, Machindia. Was it Machindia? Some
Machinde, yeah, Machinde, you know Machinde. Yeah.
there's a place called Boston in Machindia.
There is, in Machinde, there's so many places.
Yeah,
It's like it's like the America of Machinde.
yeah. So yeah, so you go to Boston in Machindia, and then who did the setup? Like there was a lot of guys in the background, and then you guys are just grabbed the mic and just started. How did you plan the setup, or the director of the video did?
It was just our friends. Like we called everyone come down
Hmm.
to the video, and let's just try to create a vibe. Everyone's happy, everyone's dancing, and
Yeah.
I guess it was an input from the director and Kavan and myself.
It really came out good, and your verses, you and Kavan matched really good, and both of you matched the energy to fit the song, which was really good. And I'm
Yeah.
glad you picked her to be on the song. And at the end of the song, your dad comes and grabs you off the stage.
I'm exactly. My dad had to come and get me because I was misbehaving.
Yeah, and then he gets out.
Did
So
you like that part? Did you like that part?
yeah, I did. I thought it was funny. Like he just comes and then just grabs you by the hand and just walks you off the stage. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a dad. Come over here. Yeah, I want you
Yeah,
out of here before Museveni gets you on the curfew.
exactly. He came and got me. He came and got me.
um, but the part that caught me off guard too was the next part after that, where you go into the rap.
Yeah,
How I didn't know you rap. Like how did you uh make up that part where it was solo? It was just you, and it was like, was it? Did it say later that day or something like that? Where
yeah.
you're setting up. So how did you get in the idea of adding that piece to the video?
Did you like that part? First
Mm-hmm.
of all,
Yeah, I like the raw part of it. Yeah, I did.
that part came because I went through a very turbulent life last in 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that part was just me letting everything out.
Yeah,
It was just me saying, I'm this. No matter what you tell me, no matter what you say that I am, this is who I am. I'm a
right.
fighter. I'm a winner. And I put the lion in there because I like, when it comes to animals, I like lions
Mm-hmm.
because it shows strength,
It shows strength,
right?
and you are Ugambe. So
Exactly. Well, exactly in polygamy, it
yeah.
shows strength. That's why I put the lion in there. And it wasn't a thing where I wanted to prove a point or everything, but I just thought, you know what? you have to show your strength,
Hmm.
and I hope people recognize it.
Right. And that's really good. And I'm glad you say it that way because that's what I felt when I was listening. It's like, just like, yeah, I'm gonna go crazy on this place, like a freestyle, but like it's just like going crazy and just letting it all out.
Did
Which,
you like it? Did you like it?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Thank,
it was
thank you.
cool. It was cool and it was really good. I'm glad you added it on the song. It makes it really come out really good. Do you travel back to Uganda to do these music videos, and how does that come about?
I do. Have you heard my recent track, More Than Love?
That's we're gonna come to that next after we
Oh
finish.
yeah,
Make
yeah.
you wanna.
So
I have a lot of questions for
yeah.
that too.
I try to travel back to Uganda as much as possible because that's where the core of my fan base is.
Hmm.
They're in Uganda.
Right.
So obviously I have to go back and see them and everything.
Hmm.
And I like Uganda. I've got a lot of family in Uganda, so I just like going back there and just embracing the culture.
Obviously, like even me with my podcast. I mean, when I look at my stats, they say my biggest fan base is in the US because I live here and I've made like a family here. I've made friends here. I've had a
Yeah.
lot of people. And the other thing is like maybe a lot of people in the United States have picked up on podcasts before people in Uganda. No offense to people in Uganda because Uganda is like the second country down there that's supporting me and people helping me grow the podcast. So I really connect with you on that about having the fan base in Uganda, and um, it's always for the people. And most of the things I do, I host people from Uganda because I want to share their stories. I want to uplift them, and also uplift myself through the podcast. So I really care about that.
And keep doing it and
Yeah.
keep doing it. And the thing is, I think us guys who are in diaspora, we need to engage in the guys
Hmm.
back home. It's up
Hmm.
to us guys who are going to uplift the ones who are back home. And
Hmm.
I'm a very big support me. I'm very big in supporting
Hmm.
people back home and upcoming talent. So
Yeah.
us guys, by you doing your podcast, what you're doing is an amazing thing. Like you keep going and just lift up the culture.
And yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's the first thing I say when I had you on the podcast is just like thanking you for supporting me. Like whatever I put out there, you're always there to like it, support it. And it's I don't know where people got this thing of like when you make it in life, you're supposed to have some level of pride and just feel a certain way. I'm not like that. And I keep
And
telling people, no matter how much money I get, no matter how much fame I get, I want to be the same person. I want to show the same love
exactly.
to somebody who is coming up, who is struggling, who is doing something. Because I know at one point I was there. I really hate it when somebody gets somewhere and they feel like they're on another
Yeah.
planet, they're on another level, which, yeah, you might be, but like you at one time,
That's not the way. That's not the
yeah.
way to do it. That's not the way to do it. We have to encourage and support each other. We have to, and I'm 100%. If
Hmm.
you see me, like obviously we haven't met, but I hope you can tell by the way the energy that you
Hmm.
can tell that I'm 100% in supporting
Hmm.
the whole, like especially
Right.
Uganda community. I'm
Hmm.
100% supporting it. Maybe have you seen my charity work as well?
Yep, I was gonna ask you about that too. So I have all that in plan.
Yeah. Oh,
And
sorry, I'm going too fast. Let me
no,
slow down.
no, you're good. You're good. It will always come back. But yeah, you people who have don't follow on your Instagram, they can even tell through just following your Instagram. You repost people's music. I've seen like when Eddie Kenzo got nominated, you were there to share the love. Rubber Dubber makes his concerts and stuff. You're there to share. Anybody who wins in Uganda, I think we win together. And anybody around the world, it doesn't hurt anything to support. Um,
Exactly.
Before I go to
Exactly.
your charity, which I'm gonna bring up later, well, let's do with the more than love, more than love. I like that
More
song.
than love.
Yeah, give us the
Do you
capella
like
of
the
more.
song?
Give us the capella of that
Did you
song.
know I heard you more than love?
So
There you are. Yeah.
yeah,
Do you like the song?
I like the song. First of all, I've watched the video too. How do you get
Did
what's the
you
word? How do you get the
like the video?
huh?
Did you like the video?
Yeah, I like the video, and that's what I'm asking you about. How do you get the courage to stand in the middle of the road in Uganda and do a video with just singing and not shy from the people? How do you get the courage?
I'm not gonna lie, I was very nervous. Like I was nervous, but then you have to think to yourself, people know Brenjeezy. So if I go there and I start acting shy and acting quiet, they're gonna be like, that's not Brenjeezy. So I have to remind myself, you are like Brenjeezy, show people that what you can do. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not me being big headed or anything, right? It's just me saying you are who you are, just do what you have to do. And I'd rather put on my best, right, than act
Mm-hmm.
shy and then do something stupid.
How? But actually, now that you reminded me, I had this question that I forgot to ask you. How did you come up with the name Brain Jeezy?
Brenjeezy. So my name is Brenda,
Mm-hmm.
all right? That's my name. And when I was younger, everyone used to call me Brenjeezy, Brenjeezy. And then when it came to doing like music,
Mm-hmm.
they were just like, what name can you do? And then Brenjeezy
Brain
just
Jeezy.
stuck. Brenjeezy. It just stuck. Yeah.
My latest episode I just released last week. You no the week after that. The girl was called Shamizi. And I asked her the same question, like, how did you come up with Shamizi? And her story was like, there was a session in life where Instagram just came up and everybody's name was Easy, Easy, Easy. So I thought that's how you came up with Brenjeezy too. Like, she was like, you guys didn't have it in Uganda? Like, we had Jeezy, Jeezy, Easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was funny. But going back to More Than Love, I got distracted a little bit, but I'm glad I asked her. You recorded this in Nalia, and there's a clip that I really like on Instagram where you're standing with two guys and they go, we're here recording the video in Nalia. Like how did that guy? I think he was making fun of like how you pronounce it. Tell me
Yeah.
about
Because
that.
everybody, when I go to Uganda, because my accent is so British, it's just I think he was just taking the mick how out of the way that I speak.
Yeah, but you recorded the video in Nalia. I
I
know
do.
where Nalia is.
You know
Um,
Nalia is?
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
Nalia?
I knew a lot of places in Uganda. I used to travel a lot.
Yeah.
So why did you choose Nalia for the video?
Do you want me to be honest?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's around the corner from my house. So literally,
It's not what?
literally, I live around the corner. It's around the corner from my house.
Uh-huh.
So like it was just convenient that
Yeah.
the place just had to be there. So and plus, and you know what? To be fair, I love Nalia. Nalia is
Mm-hmm.
it's where my it's where like when I go to Uganda, I'm more than Nalia.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in Nalia knows me. The supermarket, the market ladies, the
Mm-hmm.
hairdressers, the petrol stations.
Mm-hmm.
Like they all know me, and
It was
as
easy for
much
you
it's
to
always
do
been
there.
convenient. It's yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's a scene too where you were in a hair salon, by the way, and making your hair. I saw that too.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think you recorded a vlog. No, yeah, a vlog behind the scene of that, and you were talking about how
yeah.
that's the area you grew up in. And you made the video. So who you said you don't write your songs? Who wrote the song for you?
So the person who wrote the song was a guy called Writer,
Okay,
and this song's actually 2 years old. I've had the
okay.
song for a while, and I believe that song came before Make Me Wanna.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember when I was doing my projects, I was like struggling between which one to release first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up releasing Make Me Wanna first. And then I did More Than Love after.
Mm-hmm.
But More Than Love actually was written before Make Me Wanna.
Mm-hmm.
And and sometimes you can just tell when a song is gonna do
Mm-hmm.
well.
Actually, I think I noticed that when I was looking at your page the other day, that you were in a studio doing More Than Love, and then afterwards, then I saw Make Me Wanna, and I was like, oh, this song just came out. It's over like some it was a while back, but yeah, I think it's always timing. Like there's time for everything and
I
when
mean,
it's
yeah,
supposed to come out. Oh, and I'm glad everything
exactly.
happens for a reason, so it came out at the perfect time. And I'm glad people are streaming and checking it out. And
What has been the feedback? What has been the feedback that you've heard about Brenjeezy and my music? You can be honest, even if it's bad.
oh no, I've not. I've just been watching the comments of. For me, I like the song. I don't think I've commented anywhere. Like personally, I like the song. I like the beats that you chose to the song, and I think I like you. Yeah, I like your. No, I think, but I'll make this clear. I like your voice that matches the beat to the song. You know, it's always good
Thank
to
you.
have the actual voice, like the voice and the beats, like matching together. And I feel like I already said, the make me wanna where you and Kevin like matched the beat of the song and the vibe of the song, so it came out really perfect.
Yeah,
I've not really had up from the outside of the country about the song,
yeah.
but that's my opinion on that. And I mean,
Thank
from your
you.
Instagram, a lot of people have been just being positive when I read the comments when you post something. So yeah, so music was the songs I was gonna focus about. So on my Zoom, I have 10 minutes left. Or actually, we have seven. I think I'll have enough for to ask you. We touched about your project, about water. How did you and what made you come up with this project?
So the Give Me Water project, basically that came about. So I was in Uganda in 2019 for 6 months, and I'm not sure if you've seen my project in Tayaye. Have you
No,
seen
no, I've
Tayaye?
not. I've not seen it.
So anyway, I had a song called Tayaye, and there was children dancing, like the African children, and like just dancing all over the like everywhere in the video. So I was approached by a charity, and they said we liked the vibe that you brought to Africa, because people think that people in Africa that you're just everyone's poor. Don't
Mm-hmm.
get me wrong, there's poverty,
Yeah.
but even in poverty, you can still shine, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so they approached me, and they liked the way that I tried to bring out the happiness. So they were just like, we have some kids in Kawempe and they're underprivileged. Can you do a song with them? And at first I was just like, great, like, it's I can do something, but put aside the song, I like what we have done for them, like outside of it. Like these kids, like especially during COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were struggling. They never had no school, not school, but the thing is, they were just never had no food to eat. That they were struggling. But I like the fact that we've given them the confidence. We've given them the like they can go back to school. They can educate themselves. They're not children, like they're not a statistic basically.
Mm-hmm.
And we have helped them so many ways when it comes to their parents and their families, giving them support in what they need to do to get further in life. And I forgot what I was going to say, but I just like the fact that we can help people.
Yeah.
And me, I'm all about helping people. When it comes to the charities, I've done a lot of charity work in Uganda. I've worked with
Mm-hmm.
like orphanage boys, and my next project is about working with disabled children.
That's really good. And I always like when somebody cares about somebody else, like being selfless.
You have
And
to,
yeah,
you
and
have
that's
to.
one thing too. Like I try to do with my podcast. Yeah, I do it, but I want to use it as a platform to help somebody else, and that's why through this podcast, through these episodes I bring out, I talk about things that are happening back in Uganda, and I address them like when COVID happened and kids were not in school. I try to take my platform and I look for people to help, and I was able to find some sponsors for at least some kids to go back to college to primary school and to go get the education. Until today these people are still supporting them, and I'm glad that you use your platform too, like whatever you got, to look up for somebody else. And that's what I encourage, and that's what I want other people to do, pick up to, and to use that organization or charity program that you run besides music, and you help somebody else on using the platform. What platforms do you use for the people to check out or stream your music? And can you share with the people your social media accounts and handles?
Yes, my music is available everywhere on Spotify, iTunes, Apple, everywhere, basically on
Anyway, yeah.
all streaming platforms. You can follow me on Instagram. They call me Brenjeezy. And follow me on Facebook, Brenjeezy. Follow me on Twitter, Brenjeezy. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'll try
Bren
to keep you guys updated as much as possible.
Brenjeezy all over. So yeah, we're coming to the close of the pod because I really liked talking with you and sharing experiences of the two songs. I've only talked about two songs, but there's a lot of music that you've done. So I'll encourage my listeners to go out and check out all those the songs that you've done on Spotify and
Thank
those
you.
the pages you've talked about. I only highlighted two
Yeah.
songs, which highlighted song More Than Love. You should go out and check it out. It's really good, and More Than Love was really good. Oh, More Than Love and Make Me Wanna. So they're both really good songs. You should go check them out and the videos on YouTube too. So what gets you excited about life?
What gets me excited about life? I think giving.
Yeah.
Giving. I personally feel I'm a blessed person,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you're blessed, you have to share your blessings onto others. I like helping people. I like
That's
I like giving back. I like giving back.
That's really good. It's always good to give back, even with a small that you got, share with somebody else.
Yeah.
What's a life
Mm.
lesson you've learned in life until today?
Don't react to everything.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, sometimes some of the things you just have to ignore and just let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
that's something which
mhm.
I'm learning to achieve.
Yeah, not everything requires a response or like something to talk about. So in my podcast, I have a signature question I ask people: Who would you like to see on my podcast next? And you're gonna help me find this person.
Well, anyone in the world,
Anyone in the world, but you have to help me get the person on the podcast.
Sheba.
Sheba, you're gonna connect me to Sheba and get her on the podcast.
I like Sheba because I like her story. I
Yeah.
like the way that she started out in Kawempe and she's made a name and a, not even a foundation for herself.
Mhm.
So I know people that work with her. I can't say I can get her into
Yeah.
your show, but I like her story.
Yeah. Yeah, I will try to get her on the podcast. And like I said, if somebody says no, it's not the end of the world. There's a lot of other people who are willing to share their stories on my podcast. And it's always,
No is not the end. No is
yeah,
not. If someone tells you no, it's not the end.
right. So, yeah, Brenjeezy, say thank you very much for coming on my podcast. I really had fun
And
talking with
thank you
you
for having me.
and talking to you. So, I can't wait for the listeners to hear your story and hear about your music and everything we talked about today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey there, this is Bonnie Kibuka, the host of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Thanks for watching and listening to my podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with a friend and recommend somebody to this podcast. Don't forget to leave a feedback on this podcast because that's how we grow. And also don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. Join us on our social media platforms on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So we'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much and be blessed.